Syndicate agents and nuclear operatives have quite a few guns in their arsenal. This is purely for Wizden. Pretty much every server out there, I'm sure, modifies these values or weapons or things about them. Even like Harmony is slightly different with this stuff. But anyways, Wizden's a good base and good intro to most people's space station experience. So we're going to briefly talk about every single gun available to Syndicate agents and nuclear operatives. The cheapest gun is the Mosin. It boasts a 10-shot magazine, internal magazine. It has a fire rate of 0.8 per second, giving it a 15.2 DPS. This gun is abysmal. It has 190 damage per TC, though, because it only costs 1 telecrystal. Interestingly, this gun doesn't actually require 2 hands to shoot, but you're not going to hit a single thing if you don't actually wield it. So, yeah, you have to consider you're giving up both hands for a 15 DPS gun, which is only ever so slightly better than actually hitting somebody with, like, your fist if you can actually hit the bullets. Once you do actually hit something, yeah, it will do 19 damage. So technically, this means this gun actually has a total of 190 damage per telecrystal with just a gun. However, there's an interesting thing here where you can purchase a box of ammo for it that is also 1 telecrystal. And since each shot is 19 damage, this is actually 1,140 damage per telecrystal. But then you'd have to sit here and hand load it from the box, then pull the gun back out and shoot. The Mosin's 1 TC. It's a meme item. You're never going to actually kill anyone with it, even if they are sitting still at the bar with no armor on, not paying attention to you. They still have, what, over 7 seconds to do anything if you're just going to sit there shooting them the entire time. Anyways, it's a funny gun, but it's a meme gun. Next on to the first real gun of the Syndicate agents is the Viper. This is 3 telecrystals. Each bullet of the Viper is a 35 auto and does 15 or 16 damage a shot. It has a fire rate of 6.0, and the Viper can actually be swapped to full auto, so you can hit that DPS if you hit every shot. The gun comes with 10 bullets in the magazine and 1 in the chamber, so we have a DPS of 96 and 160 damage in the magazine with a 16 additional in the chamber, giving the Viper of about 58 damage per telecrystal. So yeah, not as good as the Mosin, but you're actually going to kill somebody with this. The Viper can also be shot with 1 hand, full auto, and it is very, very, very accurate. You can dump the entire magazine into a target, and you're going to hit all of your shots, as long as, well, you can actually hit them. Where the Viper's true cost comes into play here, the true value, is that its magazines are only 1 telecrystal apiece, so it's 160 damage total per telecrystal for the reload. And you can reload pistols really quickly and easily because they're only one-handed, so you don't have to spend too much time doing hand shuffling or anything like that. The Viper is a very, very common purchase among Syndicate agents due to its high DPS. It's actually the highest DPS of all the pistols. It's honestly one of the highest DPS guns of the Syndicate arsenal. Only the big hitters actually have more DPS, but very solid purchase. The Python is an interesting gun. It is a revolver. It has 6 shots in the cylinder total, and it only has a DPS of 52. However, each bullet in the Python is armor piercing, which is essentially true damage. If somebody has 50% armor resist, this gun will actually out DPS most other guns in the game due to its high armor pen. Well, not high armor pen. It just straight up ignores armor. However, if you're fighting an armor target, this is one of the lowest DPS guns in the game. It would be almost half the DPS of the Viper, because this is again a 52 DPS gun, 26 times 2. There's 156 damage total in this, but you get about 39 true damage per TC because this costs 4 telecrystals. The reload, though, is 1 telecrystal cheaper, so you get about 52 damage total per telecrystal. The Python is very, very accurate. It's basically a one-handed sniper, and the fire rate feels comfortable. Yeah, 2 shots a second doesn't feel like a lot, but since it's not actually automatic, you can get those clicks in comfortably without spam clicking and like jerking your mouse around while trying to spam click. And Armor Pen is a niche product. This gun lacks the damage per magazine. It is technically about the same as the Viper, but missing 1 bullet of a Python versus 1 bullet of your Viper, you lose a lot of your total damage here. But the Python is really good against people in armor, security hard suits, salvager hard suits, because that's for some reason really bullet resistant. Different video, different topic. But anyways, on to the blatant 5.7 ripoff, the Cobra. The Cobra is a robust operator handgun. It has 10 bullets in a magazine, 1 in the chamber. It uses a caseless ammunition. It has a fire rate of 4.0 per second, and the Cobra actually does 19 damage a shot, so 3 more than the Viper. However, the Cobra costs 1 additional telecrystal, so it costs 4, which is the same as the Python. So there's 190 damage total in a magazine, an additional 19 in the chamber, 10 plus 1. There's 52 damage per TC with just a Cobra, and that's if you hit every single shot. However, the reload for this is only 1 telecrystal, so it's 190 damage per telecrystal. That is 30 higher than the Viper. Due to the 3 extra damage per shot and the same magazine size as the Viper, the Cobra is also an incredibly common purchase. I don't know the extra statistics, but the Wizden people do know this. Either way, the Viper, due to its higher damage, is actually still able to chew through people with armor. If you hit every single bullet, you will still crit somebody who has a 50% pierce resist, where the Viper will not do that. So that is something worth considering, but hitting 11 bullets, that includes the 10 plus the 1 in the chamber, not that easy. The Cobra, though, is dead silent and shoots pretty, I mean, it's very accurate. I don't know if it's quite as accurate as the Viper. It might be a fire rate thing or like a overall recoil thing, but the value is very good here. The sounds of the bullets impacting is significantly louder, but however, do not mistake it, since it has a lot of damage in a magazine and it's very cheap to replenish. Again, 190 damage per TC magazine replenishment. You can dish out a lot of damage for cheap with this gun. It is not even bad as a primary gun. Sure, you're not going to be DPSing down all of security with it, but it is there. It is great for an assassination and potentially a small gunfight afterwards. Oddly, the game doesn't really feature any mid-range guns. You jump from 4 telecrystals to the next most expensive gun, which is 12 telecrystals, but the hristov is a very niche gun, so you either get cheap combat guns or very expensive combat guns. Hristov is somewhere in the middle, and it acts as something in the middle. It's a very bizarre gun. The hristov has 5 bullets total, nothing in the chamber, and the bullets of this do 75 damage a shot. They also are structural and armor, can shoot through several walls, but despite the name, they're actually not armor piercing, so they don't have the true damage capability like the Python. The bundle actually comes with, ignore that, there's another hristov in there, I forgot to take it out. The bundle actually comes with an extra box of 10 bullets, so that's why it's called a bundle, because there's other things in it. There's also clothes, but 75 damage a shot. However, the fire rate is very slow, of 0.4 per second. So the DPS of this is only about 30. However, there is 375 damage per magazine, because 5 times 75. So due to the fact that the hristov comes with 15 bullets total, you actually have about 94 damage per TC, which is better than something like the Python. And even if you're hitting somebody with a 50% damage reduction, you're still going to be doing more damage than you would with the Python with the hristov. However, the DPS just utterly sucks. But there's other elements to the hristov too. When you get shot by it, it slows you. It does require 2 hands to wield, but the hristov also lets you see further, so there's also elements to guns that aren't just statistics based. So as mentioned, the hristov does have great structure piercing capabilities and the camera extension, so you can shoot through soft targets like a reinforced wall and hit your target with ease. So it slows, does really heavy hits, but don't exactly expect to just like 100 to 0 somebody with this. Especially if they're wearing armor, they're gonna be able to get away. You might even stun them before they get away, but you're gonna have to spend practically your entire magazine to crit one person unless you're just dead accurate. It's a very niche weapon like the Python. It has its use cases, but it is certainly much better than it used to be. Now we're on to the 3 real heavy hitters. First we have the C20 bundle, which again only comes in a bundle. The bundle is 17 telecrystals. It comes with 2 extra magazines and a full magazine in the C20. It is a 30 plus 1 gun, 1 in the chamber, and has a very high fire rate. The bullets, the damage per bullet is 16 a shot, giving it 128 DPS, which is almost the highest in the arsenal, and certainly the highest of this price range. You could just buy this as a normal Syndicate agent because it's only 17 TC. It has 480 damage in a magazine with 16 additional in a chamber, and since there's 3 magazines total, you're actually getting about 86 damage per telecrystal. This gun is rather accurate in short bursts, but if you're gonna spray more than 4 or 5 bullets at a time, you're gonna start wildly missing and hitting past a wall. But in general, in about 5 or 6 tile radius like this, you can pretty much full spray, but don't expect to shoot off like at the edge of your screen and hit every single bullet. It's very accurate, great fire rate. It has a unique feature where you can shoot it one-handed, but it's pretty inaccurate if you do that. But once you expend the entire magazine, it'll automatically eject it, meaning you can actually get more bullets downrange and keep that 128 DPS going longer. The C20 is also a weird one because unlike the Bulldog, you can actually purchase additional magazines for only 2 telecrystals. So as a Syndicate agent, you could buy an extra mag, or as a Nuke, you could buy a bunch of mags. And due to the fact there's 480 damage total in the magazine, buying the magazines individually is actually 240 damage additional per TC, which is a crazy good discount. Also, I forgot to mention, the hristov, you can purchase these boxes of ammo for 2 TC, so you can actually get 375 damage per TC value out of these 10 bullets if you hit them all, which that means the hristov actually has the most potential technically to crit more people per TC, but it's so hard to hit people with it. So you really need to use this like a sniper and not really be engaging in normal gunfights with it, because you will not win it. Onto the Bulldog. I think the Bulldog is a personal favorite over the C20 due to its just wide shotgun range. It's generally better at point blanking. The C20 has a 128 DPS, the Bulldog has a 120 DPS, so it's technically lower, but it's easier to hit the pellets, or at least hit some pellets if you miss, where at the C20, if you miss, you do no damage. With the Bulldog, if you miss, you're still likely to land some pellets. Especially at close range, you're more likely to get the full DPS out of the Bulldog than versus, like, I mean, the C20 is honestly really good at close range either way. Anyways, I don't need to explain the basics of a shotgun. The Bulldog has 8 shots per magazine. It doesn't have a chamber, and it has a fire rate of 2.0, giving it, as I said, a 120 DPS. It is a 10 times 6, so there are 6 pellets that do 10 damage each. The bundle comes with 3 additional magazines, so there's 480 damage total in the magazine, times 4 gives it about 96 damage per TC. You cannot buy additional ammo with this normally. You'd have to get the ammo bundle, which I will cover. You cannot shoot the Bulldog one-handed, so you must wield it, so that is a bit different than the C20, but again, I wouldn't really recommend you shooting the C20 one-handed anyway. The spread is actually rather forgiving. You can typically hit at least 2 pellets at a long range like this, which isn't terrible, but you really don't want to be shooting this thing probably past, I don't know, just say probably like 3 tiles is enough. Yeah, 3 tiles is enough to actually land every pellet. As soon as you start going to 4, you will start missing, even aiming at center mass. I think I prefer the Bulldog. You don't deal with empty magazine issues quite as much. I feel like it's easier to get consistent DPS, and a lot of gunfights in this game don't really happen across entire hallways, especially if you're aiming to crit or kill. I feel like the Bulldog gets you there easier, if that makes sense. It's definitely a personal preference. Finally, onto the biggest gun available to the Nukies and Syndicates is the L6 Saw. You could argue the China Lake, but I'm not going to consider the China Lake just a normal gun. It's not used in the same fashion. It's really hard to calculate its value, and it's just so hard to use correctly. The L6 Saw comes in a bundle. It is 30 telecrystals. Each bullet does 19 of damage. It actually uses the same ammo as a Mosin. It has a fire rate the same as the C20, but due to the higher damage per bullet, it has 152 DPS. 100 shots are per magazine. It has 1 in the chamber, so we have 1900 damage in a magazine plus 19 in the chamber. The bundle comes with 1 additional box mag, which is actually a 1x2, so that's kind of nice in its own way. So this is 127 damage per telecrystal, because it's such an expensive gun. The L6 Saw must be wielded to shoot, and the accuracy is slightly worse than the C20, but at about a 6 tile radius, you can shoot in about 3 or 4 bullet bursts and expect, I mean, you can see the inaccuracy. You can reasonably expect them to hit, but if you start shooting wildly, you're going to be shooting over a 3 tile deviation, so that is something worth considering. But at a close range gun, or even slightly medium range, nothing beats the L6 Saw. It is a DPS powerhouse. It has a 1900 damage in a magazine. It's not like it takes longer to reload or anything. I mean, wielding it's a little bit of a pain, but it's just such a good weapon. You don't there's no movement speed penalty with it. You just kind of keep rolling. There's also the unique feature of this that since it shares ammo with the Mosin, remember this box is 60 shots, only costs 1 telecrystal, and you could just hand load your magazine. You have to take it out, but you could just hand load the magazine with these bullets. There's a time versus effort cost here, but remember, this box is actually 1140 damage per TC, which is a 10 times better deal than just the damage per TC you get out of the L6 bundle itself. So if you spend a few extra TC as like a Nuki buying these ammo boxes, which these ammo boxes are also only a 1x2, if you get a chance to reload, you can, with all 40 of your TC, get tens of thousands of damage total for your purchase. Finally comes the ammo bundle, and this is where math gets a little complicated. The ammo bundle, just to keep things simple, comes with 4 mags of a C20, 4 mags of a bulldog, and 2 mags of an L6. If you have a single person in your party that has a C20, it is not quite worth just buying the ammo bundle for one person if they have a C20. Remember, you can buy these mags individually for 2 telecrystals, so if you spend all 12 telecrystals on your ammo bundle for these 4 mags, you're only going to be getting about 160 damage per TC, where if you buy the mags individually, you're getting 240 damage per TC, so the value isn't there for just the C20. However, the bulldog, there's no other way to even get the ammo, so it's hard to put a price on it, but you do get 160 damage per TC from all 4 of these drums individually if you're just buying that for the bundle. And you get 2 additional L6 box mags, which is 317 damage per TC, if that's, again, only the thing you want out of the bundle. I would never still really recommend buying the bundle for any of these guns individually. If you're the only person running a bulldog and you want more ammo, maybe don't consider getting the bulldog. Or if you have at least one other person in your party using a C20 and a bulldog, which as Nukies, there's a free C20. So the odds are, yes, somebody is going to take the free C20. The ammo bundle essentially is pretty much always going to be a not necessarily a must purchase, but it's always going to be one of the most valuable purchases just due to how much damage is in this bundle. Even if somebody doesn't buy the L6 saw, buying these 8 mags at a discount is still cheaper than like buying the C20 mags individually. And again, there's no other way to get bulldog mags without buying an entire another 20 TC bundle. So this is very worth it. However, the ammo bundle makes people feel like they need to use the L6, but the L6 is really good, and it's pretty often that at least one new cop will buy an L6. Anyways, if you were to use every single bullet individually in the ammo bundle, that's 636 damage per telecrystal, which is a very high value, but somehow, funnily enough, not a higher value than the box of ammo for the Mosin / L6 saw individually. Most of the guns in the game actually share rather similar DPS, rather similar damage per telecrystal, and rather similar damages per magazine. The higher hitters like the C20 and Bulldog are practically identical in DPS and damage per magazine. The pistols are all pretty close, but the Python's a bit more niche. So I feel like it's hard to go wrong buying just a general fighter. The general fighters to me are the Cobra and the Viper. They kind of do the same thing, and the C20 and the Bulldog kind of do the same thing. L6, if you really want all the firepower, it's definitely my favorite gun in the game because, I mean, it doesn't like LMGs. But that's hopefully that gives you a better idea of what you want to purchase, especially if you're new to being a Syndicate agent or a nuclear operative.